Hi, I'm Rhonda Page, the Business Services Manager for the school district, and I will be providing a presentation on everything related to transportation. The school board policy states that the school board believes student transportation is a necessary service and an integral part of the total educational program. The major objectives of student transportation are to provide a safe transportation, maintain a climate that is conducive to the social, emotional, social, and well-being of our students, to adapt the transportation to the requirements of the instructional program, and to operate an efficient and economical transportation system. State Statute 121.54 does mandate school districts to provide transportations, and that includes provisions related to distance and unusually hazardous transportation status. The state statute does require districts to provide transportation to students who live more than 2 miles from school, but it also allows each district to have an action at the electors meeting for the electors to change the 2-mile distance. So in Sun Prairie, our electors have voted that elementary students who live more than 1 mile will receive transportation, and secondary students living more than a mile and a half receive transportation. I just wanted to provide a couple transportation highlights. Sun Prairie has had a contract with and relationship with Cobeson for over 20 years. We have worked together to manage costs through contract negotiations. Cobeson has worked with the district to revamp routes through 6 different boundary changes. This is the opening of Horizon, Creekside, Meadowview, Token Springs, the split of the 2 high schools, and the reconfiguration of the middle schools. And just know that many school districts do not change their bus routes all that often. So during these 6 boundary changes was a major accomplishment to revamp those routes 6 different times. Through the difficult times and during COVID, when many districts were consolidating routes and struggling with bus driver shortages, Cobeson has been able to fulfill all of our routes. We also have a strong relationship with the city of Sun Prairie, and I personally have built a good relationship with the GIS team, who has created a boundary and busing map for the district. This is on the district's website where community members and families can access it. The school district works collaboratively with the Sun Prairie Police Department on traffic concerns and unusually hazardous transportation plans and things related to the crossing guards. The city is actually the fiscal agent for the school district's crossing guard program. All right, transportation is multifaceted and includes way more than transporting students just to and from school. Transporting students who live in multiple households, so they might ride different buses on different days. Students go to before and after school daycares where they have different transportations. Many students go to sports or extracurricular activities on a bus, on field trips. We have dually enrolled and traveling students who take classes at different schools throughout the day. We provide transportation to kiddos as young as 3 to our early childhood students. During the day, students are on shortened schedules, so you might see buses running around during the day for students who might get done early or start late. We have a number of students who have specialized transportation who ride on different routes. The district transports private school students who attend Sacred Hearts and Peace Lutheran. We also provide transportation to McKinney-Vento students who do not have permanent housing, as well as foster care students, and some of our students attend alternative and off-site programs. So I'm just gonna try to break down some of those complications and complexities of busing and explain the different types of transportation. So we transport our SP4K students. They provide door-to-door, we provide door-to-door transportation for them on 17 different routes. There's about 160 students that receive transportation to 8 different school and partner sites. Our elementary kiddos receive transportation. They ride on 25 different routes. There's about 1,400 students. And some of them also take some classes at the middle schools where we shuttle them to the middle schools for their advanced learning classes. All right, we transport about 2,700 secondary students on 43 different routes. We also provide after-school activity buses for all 5 of the secondary schools. And throughout the day, we currently have 2 buses that run probably for about 6 hours throughout the day that transport students between the 2 high schools. The bus takes PPA students to classes at either East or West High School. Again, we have middle school students taking classes at one of the high schools and elementary students who take classes at one of the middle schools. We provide door-to-door transportation for students with specialized transportation included in their IEP. There are about 230 of these students. There are 12 buses that operate 30 daily routes and 44 extra runs in a week. It's hard to really fathom this, but these buses are driving around on an average of 7.5 hours a day, transporting students to all of their different types of instruction at school or in the community. The longest route is 10 hours a day, and the shortest is 5 hours a day. And the majority of these buses have an attendant on them. The McKinney-Vento Homeless Education Act requires us to provide transportation to students who do not have a established housing. And so if a student was attending the Sun Prairie School District and then lost their housing and needed to move to Madison or maybe live in a shelter home in Madison, the district must provide transportation for that student to provide a consistent education. We have 300 McKinney-Vento students. They are transported on different modes of transportation. We have a district van and a district employee who drives that, who does some transportation. We have a Cobuson bus route who provides transportation for most of the families living on the far west side of Madison. We also contract with a couple different taxi companies. And when it's feasible, we provide a parent contract, and pay parents to transport their own children. The cost is split 50-50 between our district and where the student is living or staying. And the majority of our costs are split with the Madison School District. The district provides transportation to Sacred Hearts and Peace Lutheran families. Those kiddos, 240 of them, are transported on 7 different routes. And the state statute does say we need to accommodate their bell times and their school calendars. For our summer school program, that's held at 6 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school, and Prairie Phoenix Academy, we transport 1,100 plus students on 20 different routes. The state does not mandate summer school transportation, so we only receive aid for about 40% of the students that we transport. State statute also requires districts to provide transportation or a transportation contract to families living in our district when the private school is within 5 miles of our district boundary. So at this point, the one private school that we provide a transportation contract for is Abundant Life. There are 45 children that live in the Sun Prairie Area School District boundaries that attend Abundant Life. And they are in 22 different families. And each family receives $488 per child to transport their children. We have a lot of athletic teams and provide different field trip opportunities and transportation. So last year we provided 484 athletic trips, and we are proud that 9 of our SPASD coaches have received their school bus CDL and drive bus for not only their athletic trips, but sometimes for the athletic trips they coach, but sometimes for other teams as well. And last year, 398 of our field trips required transportation. So overall transportation statistics, transportation is the 3rd largest expense for our district. So the number 1 and 2 are salaries and benefits. We transport 500 plus regular students during the regular school year and 1,100 plus students during summer school. The total cost of our transportation is about $5.4 million. And state aid is about $130,000 or about 2.4% of our costs. This table just breaks down our transportation costs, showing how we spend the $5.4 million. We track all of these different types of transportations by a different account code. And so you can just see the breakdown of all of our different types of transportation. All right, in comparison to other Dane County districts, we spend $564 per pupil, and we are spending right at the average of about the other Dane County school districts. In comparison to districts similar in size, we're spending a little bit above the average. We spend $564, and the average is $510. All right, we are constantly trying to continue to improve our transportation. And this year we are going to work on building relationships with drivers and students, specifically at the elementary level. We are going to roll out what's called a bus circle and get drivers and students together multiple times during the year to get to know each other and have a facilitated bus circle. The district also provides monthly trainings for our bus drivers, and during every month we bring a different staff member administrator from the district to provide training on building relationships with students or connecting with students. We might talk about our McKinney-Vento population and how to interact with them. Our nurses provide training on how to use EpiPens and other different CPR and first aid strategies. We're also going to roll out more features of a system called Transportant, and this system offers student tracking as well as fleet tracking, cameras, GPS, and Wi-Fi. And lastly, every student who rides the bus needs to have a bus tag, and this year we're going to include student photos on those bus tags. All right, just changing directions a little bit. The city of Sun Prairie is the fiscal agent for our crossing guard program, but I am responsible for communication with the crossing guard company, addressing any complaints and placement of the crossing guards. So we have 19 crossing guards at 15 different locations, and this is just a picture on here of our crossing guards when they attended a crossing guard recognition breakfast. All right, well, thank you for listening to everything related to transportation. If you're out in the community or at one of our schools and see a bus driver, please make sure you thank them. They all have a very difficult and challenging job, but do great at transporting and getting our kids safely to and from school. Thank you.